Today we're diving into the highly anticipated arm wrestling match between two giants of strength sports, Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw, set to take place on December 13th of this year. I'll break down their previous accomplishments, arm wrestling experience, training, and the unique advantages each competitor brings to the table. Plus I'll share my prediction of who I think will come out on top. Let's start with Eddie Hall. As many of you know, Eddie made history in 2017 by winning the World's Strongest Man title and becoming the first person to deadlift an astonishing 500 kg. Eddie's list of achievements is extensive. He set records in the axle press with a 216 kg lift, qualified for World's Strongest Man multiple times, and secured the Britain's Strongest Man and World Deadlift Championship titles twice. Before Strongman, Eddie was also a champion level swimmer, winning multiple gold medals in national competitions, so it's clear that Eddie is no stranger to intense physical challenges. On the other side, we have Brian Shaw, a four-time World's Strongest Man winner who won the titles in 2011, 2013, 2015 and 2016. Brian has broken numerous records, including the highest keg toss with a 15 kilo weight, tossing it an incredible 7.7 meters. He also shattered the record for moving the feats of strength stones, carrying a combined weight of 733 pounds, a distance of 11 feet and 6.5 inches. Despite the brutal rusted handles, Brian's accomplishments are equally as impressive as Eddie's. Now let's shift gears and look at their arm wrestling experience. For Eddie, his arm wrestling background is still developing. He faced off against fellow strongman Lalas in a single round match, but Eddie lost. It seemed like he relied too much on pure power, and this technique wasn't as refined as Lalas's. However, Eddie's tenacity was evident, even though fatigue ultimately led to his defeat. Eddie also had a friendly arm wrestling session with Larry Wheels some time ago. While it was more of a casual training session where Eddie was learning from Larry, Larry was able to easily pin him. Again, both men weren't going full force, but it did highlight Eddie's technique, or Eddie's lack of technique should I say, in comparison to a seasoned arm wrestler like Larry. Now Brian Shaw's arm wrestling experience includes a training session with Darren Larrett, one of the top arm wrestlers in the world. However, it was more of a learning experience than a serious competition, with Devin helping Brian refine his technique. Brian also faced off against a slap fighting competitor, Grizzly, and won easily, but it wasn't a fair fight considering Brian's vast strength advantage. In May 2024, both Eddie and Brian had a training session together where Brian came out victorious, though it wasn't without difficulty. Both men struggled initially, but Brian was able to use his superior technique to wear Eddie down and eventually pin him after a tough battle. When it comes to training, both Eddie and Brian are taking this match very seriously. Eddie has been working with the experts at Arm Wars, focusing on improving his arm wrestling technique. While Eddie obviously has incredible strength, his arm wrestling skills were lacking, as seen in his previous matches. But he's been picking up techniques quickly, and with his raw power, he could become a real threat in that match. Brian, on the other hand, has been training extensively with Devin Larrett. Like Eddie, Brian is refining his arm wrestling technique, and it's clear he's improving rapidly. In a recent mock super match against Chris Kaufman, Brian initially struggled, but after getting into the straps, he was able to dominate and win easily. It's worth knowing that Chris is an arm wrestler, so Brian's victory was a significant achievement even without experience. Now let's break down the advantages of each athlete brings to the table. So here are some of Eddie's advantages. So he does have a lot of explosive power. Eddie's raw strength and ability to generate explosive power could give him an edge early on. He's also got quite a compact build, so his shorter frame offers better leverage and agility in certain arm wrestling positions. Speed and agility, Eddie's quick bursts of power might allow him to catch Brian off guard. Eddie's also quite resilient and he's always determined, and these are key factors that could help him push through tough situations. And his lower body leverage, Eddie's compact build allows him to utilize his body more effectively for leverage. So here are some of Brian's advantages. Size and leverage. So Brian's larger frame and long arms provide superior reach and leverage in arm wrestling positions. His superior technique. So Brian's arm wrestling technique developed through training with top arm wrestlers gives him an edge over Eddie's still developing sets of skills. Endurance and stamina. Brian's greater muscle mass gives him better endurance, allowing him to sustain power for longer. Stability and control. Brian's stable, powerful build makes it harder for Eddie to overpower him. Wrist and hand strength. Brian's larger hands and thicker forearms give him better control over the match. his body weight leverage. Bryan's extra mass allows him to use his entire body more effectively in generating force, and also his mental edge. Bryan's experience in high-pressure competitive environments gives him a strategic edge in crucial moments, but that can also be said with Eddie as well, because he did also win World's Strongest Man previously. So my prediction is this: all things considered, I believe Bryan Shaw will win the match. While Eddie has explosive power, I think Bryan's superior size, wrist strength, refined technique and endurance will make him a tough opponent for Eddie to overcome. Eddie's raw power might get him a few moments of advantage, but Bryan's overall strength combined with his growing arm wrestling skills will likely prove too much for Eddie. But what do you guys think? Do you think Eddie's explosive strength will give him the edge, or is Bryan's size and technique too overwhelming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.